Tom stared at his screen, unsure whether to laugh or panic. His fingers hovered over the keyboard as he read the title of his own post on Galactic Reddit. Accidentally got engaged to an alien princess. Help. The post had been up for only 30 minutes, and already comments were flooding in. Some people thought it was a joke. Others were offering real advice. A few were just making memes. User Star Captain 42. Bro, just say you're not interested. User Galactic Law 101. Zenari marriage customs are strict. If you accepted an official bonding gesture, they might take it seriously. User Totally not an alien. Lamau. Human diplomacy at its finest. Tom sighed, rubbing his temples. How did things end up like this? He was just a junior diplomat from Earth, sent to Vashtal 4, a major planet in the Zenari Empire. He was supposed to observe, make a good impression, and most importantly, not cause an intergalactic incident. Instead, here he was, possibly married. He took a deep breath and started typing. All right, I'll explain everything. 3 weeks ago, I attended a diplomatic event on Vashtal 4. It was supposed to be formal but simple. Just some greetings, speeches, and cultural exchange. During the ceremony, I was introduced to Princess Xyra. She's the daughter of the Zenari Emperor, and from what I heard, she's kind of a big deal. But I didn't really talk to her much, just basic politeness, you know. Then came the problem. At the banquet, she raised a silver goblet and said something in her language. I didn't understand a word. The translator in my ear was glitching. But everyone was watching me, so I just nodded and took a sip from my own cup, trying to be polite. Big mistake. The moment he drank, the room went dead silent. Then suddenly, the Zenari nobles cheered. People started clapping. Princess Xyra looked at him with wide eyes, her blue skin turning a slightly darker shade. A Zenari reaction that probably meant shock. Tom's own ambassador looked like he was about to faint. It took a few minutes before someone explained the problem. Apparently, drinking from the same goblet during a royal banquet is a traditional engagement ritual in Zenari culture. To them, I basically just proposed to the princess. And when I nodded, that was me accepting her hand in marriage. The Galactic Reddit comments exploded. User Space Catlover. Ha ha ha. Bro just speedran a royal wedding. User Legal Expert X9. You might actually be in trouble. Some species take these customs very seriously. User Exoanthropologist. Wait, you're telling me a human might become a Zenari prince? That's insane. Tom groaned and leaned back in his chair. The situation was worse than he thought. At first, he assumed it was just a funny misunderstanding. He apologized immediately and explained that humans don't have the same customs. But Princess Xyra hadn't been amused. In fact, she looked offended, and maybe even a little insulted. The Zenari Emperor's advisors had been whispering among themselves, debating what to do. Breaking an engagement wasn't easy in their culture. It could be seen as dishonorable, or worse, a diplomatic insult. That's when Tom's bosses got involved. The Earth diplomats didn't want war with the Zenari. The Zenari didn't want to lose face by canceling the engagement, and Tom, he just wanted to go home without being part of an alien royal scandal. But things only got more complicated. Princess Xyra had been silent for most of the discussions, simply watching Tom with a calculating gaze. Then, at the end of the meeting, she finally spoke. You're making me your mate. For real? Her voice was a mix of anger and disbelief. Tom opened his mouth to explain, again, that it was all a huge misunderstanding. But she cut him off. Fine. Let's see what kind of mate you are, human. And just like that, the Zenari Empire officially recognized their engagement. Tom had no idea what that meant for him. All he knew was that his life had just taken a turn he never expected. And judging by the thousands of upvotes his Galactic Reddit post was getting, the rest of humanity was watching the chaos unfold with popcorn in hand. Tom sat in his temporary quarters on Vashtal 4, staring at the ceiling. A few days ago, he was just a junior diplomat from Earth, attending a routine event. Now, he was accidentally engaged to Princess Zyra, the heir of the Zenari Empire. And the worst part, no one knew how to fix it. He groaned and opened his galactic Reddit thread again. Overnight, the post had gotten even more attention. User, Galactic Historian 77. Technically, this is the first human-alien royal engagement in history. Congrats, I guess. User, note a human spy. Bro, just fake your death and move to another planet. User, Space Leonard. If the engagement is real, there are only two ways out. 1. The princess rejects you, which might cause a diplomatic problem. Or 2. You prove yourself unworthy in a royal trial. Good luck. Tom frowned. A royal trial. No one had mentioned that yet. A knock at the door made him jump. Before he could answer, it slid open, and Princess Zyra stepped in. She was tall, with blue skin and silver eyes, wearing traditional Zenari royal armor. She didn't look happy. You, she said, arms crossed. Explain yourself. Tom sat up. What exactly do you want me to explain? Zyra took a step closer, glaring. Why would a human propose to a Zenari princess if he didn't mean it? Tom raised his hands. I didn't propose. It was a misunderstanding. My translator glitched, and I didn't know drinking from the goblet meant engagement. Zyra narrowed her eyes. So, you're saying you are too foolish to understand simple traditions? Tom sighed. No, I'm saying humans don't have the same traditions as you. In my culture, drinking from the same cup just means sharing a drink, nothing else. The princess frowned, clearly thinking. So, you had no intention of taking me as your mate? None. Tom hesitated. I mean, no offense. You seem great, but I didn't even know what was happening. Zyra was silent for a moment, then let out a deep sigh. This is a mess. Tell me about it. Zyra sat down across from him. Tom was surprised. He expected her to just storm out. I do not like this situation either, she admitted. I have trained my whole life to be a warrior and a leader. I do not need a mate, especially not a human who does not understand our ways. Tom nodded quickly. Great. Then maybe we can end this engagement and move on. But Zyra shook her head. It is not that simple. The Zenari High Council is already involved. If I reject you, it will be seen as a loss of honor for my family. Worse, it could damage relations between Zenari and humans. Tom groaned. So we're both stuck. For now, Zyra said. Unless. Tom sat up. Unless what? She looked at him, eyes sharp. There is one way out. A royal trial. Tom blinked. That again. What exactly is a royal trial? Zyra leaned forward. If a mate is deemed unworthy, the engagement can be cancelled without dishonor. But to prove this, you must face a series of challenges. Tom frowned. And what kind of challenges are we talking about? Zyra smirked. Strength, intelligence, and honor. You must show that you are unfit to be my mate in the eyes of the council. Tom hesitated. So if I fail, we can call this off? Yes. Tom considered his options. He was not a fighter. He wasn't even sure he was smart enough to pass some fancy Zenari intelligence test. But this was his best shot at getting out of this mess. He nodded. Fine. I'll do it. Zyra's smirk widened. Good. The trial begins tomorrow. Tom froze. Wait, tomorrow. Of course. Zyra said, I have no desire to waste time. Either you prove yourself unworthy, or you remain my mate. She stood up and turned to leave. Before stepping out, she glanced back at him. I hope, for your sake, that you fail, she said. Then she was gone. Tom let out a long sigh and collapsed back onto his bed. "Great," he muttered. "Now I have to lose a competition on purpose, in front of an alien empire." The comments on his galactic Reddit post were going to love this. Tom stood in the grand hall of Vashtal IV's royal arena, feeling completely out of place. The room was massive, lined with tall silver pillars, and decorated with holographic banners showing Zenari warriors in battle. Hundreds of Zenari nobles and officials sat in the stands, watching him with curiosity and some amusement. At the center of the arena sat Princess Xyra, her expression unreadable. She wore ornate battle armor, her silver eyes locked onto him like a predator watching its prey. Tom sighed. This was going to be a disaster. He opened his galactic Reddit thread one last time before putting his communicator away. The comments were pouring in. User, Galactic Warrior 12. Bro, you got this. Just lose the trial, and you're free. User, Space Orcs. Careful. If you fail too easily, they might take it as an insult. User, Just Here for Drama. I'm watching this unfold like it's the best reality show in the galaxy. Tom muttered, Yeah, me too. A loud gong echoed through the hall. The trial was about to begin. The first trial. Strength. An armored Zenari stepped forward. He was huge, nearly 7 feet tall, with grayish-blue skin and thick, muscular arms. His name was General Therek, one of the Empire's greatest warriors. The first test, Therek announced, is a test of strength. A true mate of the princess must be able to hold his own in battle. Tom gulped. Small problem. I'm not a warrior. Some of the Zenari chuckled. They clearly thought this was a joke. Therek smirked. We will see. He pointed to a large stone pillar in the center of the arena. You must lift this pillar off the ground. If you cannot, you are unworthy. Tom stared at the pillar. It was easily 3 times his weight. There was no way he could lift it. Perfect. He pretended to struggle, groaning and straining as he grabbed the pillar. He made a dramatic show of failing to lift it, falling onto the ground in exhaustion. The crowd murmured. Some laughed, others whispered. Therek frowned. Humans are truly weak creatures. Tom forced himself to look embarrassed. Yup, I guess I failed. That means I'm free, right? But Xyra didn't look amused. She stood up, her voice sharp. Strength is not just about muscle. A true leader knows how to use strategy to win. She gestured toward the pillar. Lift it, human. Tom blinked. I just tried. Xyra cut him off. Then try again. Think. The hall grew silent. Tom looked around, feeling the pressure of hundreds of alien eyes watching him. He turned back to the pillar. Strategy. He suddenly noticed a small gap underneath the pillar, just enough space for leverage. An idea hit him. Tom quickly grabbed a metal rod lying nearby. He wedged it under the pillar and pushed down, using the rod as a lever. The pillar tipped slightly off the ground. The audience gasped. Tom smirked and stepped back. There, I lifted it. Silence. Then, to his surprise, a few Zenari clapped. Even Xyra raised an eyebrow. Interesting, she muttered. You are not strong, but you are clever. She turned to Therek. Does this count? Therek hesitated, then sighed. Yes. He passed. Tom's stomach dropped. Wait, that wasn't supposed to happen. The second trial. Intelligence. The second trial, a Zenari scholar announced, is a test of intelligence. Answer this question correctly, and you pass. Tom sighed. All right. Hit me. The scholar cleared his throat. If a ship is traveling at light speed and enters a gravitational well with a force of 12 kilorex units, how do you adjust your trajectory to maintain velocity without destabilizing the warp field? What? Tom glanced at Xyra. She was watching him carefully. He sighed. If he failed too quickly, he might look like a fool, and that could insult the Zenari. Instead, he did what humans always did when they didn't know something. He bullsh. No, wait. He improvised. Well, Tom said slowly, the real issue isn't maintaining velocity. It's about stabilizing the warp field before the gravity well pulls you in. If you recalibrate the phase oscillators in time, you won't have to adjust the trajectory at all. The hall went dead silent. The scholar blinked. That is correct. The audience murmured in surprise. Even Syra looked mildly impressed. Tom sighed internally. Dang it, I passed again. The princess's reaction. The trials ended, and Tom was still engaged. He wanted to fail, but somehow he kept accidentally succeeding. Syra walked up to him, her arms crossed. I thought you wanted to lose. Tom groaned. I did. I guess humans have a weird way of doing things. She smirked. Perhaps you are not as weak as I thought. Tom looked at her. For the first time, he saw something different in her expression. It wasn't just annoyance anymore. It was curiosity. And that scared him more than anything. Because if he wasn't careful, this accidental engagement might turn into something very real. And the entire galaxy was watching. Tom sat on the balcony of the royal palace, staring up at the alien night sky. 2 moons floated above Vastalfor, casting a soft glow over the city. He had survived the first 2 trials, but instead of failing and getting out of this mess, he had accidentally impressed everyone, including Princess Syra. His galactic Reddit thread was now the most popular post of the week. User, Space Diplomat 23. Dude, stop winning. You were supposed to fail. User, Star Captain 42. I think the princess is starting to respect you. Good luck with that. User, Just Here for Drama. This is better than any reality show. Don't mess this up. Tom groaned and shut off his communicator. This wasn't funny anymore. If he passed the final trial, there would be no excuse to break the engagement. And from the way Syra had looked at him today, she was starting to reconsider her opinion of him. That was bad. Because even though she was strong, smart, and honestly kind of intimidatingly cool, Tom did not want to accidentally become an alien prince. A voice interrupted his thoughts. You are thinking too much, human. Tom turned. Princess Syra stood behind him, her arms crossed. She had changed out of her battle armor into something more casual, though Zenari fashion still made her look like she was ready for war. He sighed. Yeah, I tend to do that when I'm accidentally engaged to a warrior princess. She smirked and stepped closer. You handled yourself well today. Perhaps I was too quick to judge you. Tom gave a weak laugh. Great. Now can we just end this whole thing? Syra's smirk faded. She studied him for a moment before speaking. Tell me, human, why do you want so badly to leave this engagement? Tom blinked. Seriously, because I never meant for this to happen. I'm just a normal guy from Earth. I'm not a warrior, not a prince, and definitely not prepared to be someone's mate in an alien empire. Syra tilted her head. And yet, you have passed every challenge so far. Tom groaned. By accident. Syra was silent for a moment, then sighed. Very well. If you wish to leave so badly, I will give you a final challenge. One that is not part of the trials. Tom raised an eyebrow. What kind of challenge? Syra smirked. Simple. You and I will fight. If you land a single hit on me, you win. If not, you stay. Tom paled. What? You claim you are not a warrior, Syra said, stepping closer. But I want to see it for myself. I want to know if you are truly weak, or if you simply refuse to fight. Tom rubbed his temples. Let me guess. I can't say no, can I? Syra smiled. No. Tom sighed. Of course. The fight begins. The next morning, the royal training ground was set up for the duel. A large crowd gathered. Zenari nobles, warriors, and even a few human diplomats. Tom stood in the center, dressed in light training armor. Across from him, Princess Syra looked completely relaxed, holding a short wooden staff. Do not worry, Syra said, spinning the staff easily. I will go easy on you. Tom groaned. That doesn't help. A gong echoed through the air. The duel had begun. Tom had no plan. None. He had never fought anyone in his life. His best hope was to lose as fast as possible without looking pathetic. Syra moved first. Fast. 1 second she was standing still. The next, she was in front of him, swinging her staff at his ribs. Tom barely dodged, stumbling backward. He didn't even have time to react before she swept his legs out from under him. He hit the ground hard. The audience laughed. Syra twirled her staff. You must try, human. Tom groaned and got up. Fine. He rushed forward, trying to fake an attack, but Syra dodged easily and slammed the staff into his shoulder. Tom hit the ground again. More laughter. He sighed. Okay, time for a new plan. He needed to do something unexpected. Tom picked himself up, thinking fast. He couldn't beat Syra with strength or speed, but maybe he could win with something else. The unexpected move. Syra charged again, aiming for his legs. This time, Tom didn't move away. Instead, he suddenly dropped to the ground himself, rolling under her attack. Before she could react, he reached out and tapped her ankle with his hand. The crowd fell silent. Syra froze, looking down at him in shock. Tom lay on the ground, panting. That counts, right? He asked. For a moment, Syra just stared. Then, to Tom's shock, she laughed. A genuine, amused laugh. You are a strange human, she said, offering him a hand. Tom took it, and she pulled him up effortlessly. The crowd whispered in surprise. You won, Syra admitted. Barely, but you won. Tom sighed in relief. So, that means the engagement is off. Syra's smirk returned. Perhaps. Tom frowned. What do you mean, perhaps? Syra leaned closer. You have proven you are not weak. That is interesting. Tom's stomach dropped. This wasn't over. In fact, he had the terrible feeling that this was just the beginning. Tom sat in his guest room in the royal palace, still trying to process what had just happened. He had won the duel. He had proven himself. That should mean the engagement was off. Right? He opened his galactic Reddit thread. User, Space Leonard. You did it. The fight is over. You're free now, right? User, just there for drama. I don't trust that perhaps. Something is up. User, Galactic Warrior 12. Bro, you impressed her. That's worse than losing. Tom groaned. He had a bad feeling about this. A knock at the door made him sit up. Come in, he said hesitantly. The door slid open, and Princess Syra walked in. Tom immediately stood up, nervous. Hey, so, I won the challenge. That means. Syra raised a hand, cutting him off. Sit. Tom hesitated, then obeyed. He had no idea what was coming next. Syra walked over and leaned against the wall, arms crossed. You surprised me, human. Tom forced a small smile. Yeah, I get that a lot. Syra studied him carefully. You are not strong. You are not fast. But you are resourceful. And that is rare. Tom didn't like where this was going. Okay, so what does that mean? Syra was silent for a moment. Then she sighed. Technically, you won. If you truly wish to leave, I will not stop you. Tom's heart leaped with relief. Really? Syra nodded. Yes, you have earned that right. Tom exhaled. Finally, he could go home. But then, Syra took a step closer. However, Tom froze. There was a however. Syra smirked slightly. I have decided something. Even if you are not my mate, I want to understand you. Your kind. Your ways. Tom blinked. Okay. Syra's silver eyes locked onto his. So I have made a choice. I will accompany you to your world. Tom's mind shut down. Wait, what? A royal visit to Earth? Tom paced around his room, hands on his head. This was bad. Very, very bad. Princess Zyra, the heir to the Zenari Empire, wanted to come to Earth with him. How was he supposed to explain that to his government? To his boss? To his mom? Another knock at the door made him jump. This time, it was General Theric, the massive Zenari warrior from the trials. Human, Theric said in his deep voice. You look unwell. Tom stopped pacing and glared. Oh, you think? Theric smirked. You should feel honored. The princess has never taken such an interest in anyone before. Tom groaned. Yeah, I feel so honored. Theric stepped closer, his expression turning serious. Listen well, human. The princess is different from others of her kind. She is strong, but she does not act without reason. If she has chosen to follow you, it is because she sees something in you. Tom hesitated. What exactly does she see? Theric shrugged. That is for you to discover. Tom sighed. This was not what he wanted, but saying no to Zyra wasn't exactly an option. He was going back to Earth. And now he had a warrior princess coming with him. Departure from Vashtal 4. The next day, Tom stood in the Zenari docking bay, watching as the preparations were made for their departure. Zyra arrived, dressed in a sleek travel uniform, her usual battle armor left behind. She looked almost relaxed. Tom glanced at her. You're really doing this, huh? Zyra smirked. Of course. I wish to see this Earth of yours. Tom exhaled. All right. But just so you know, things might be a little different there. Zyra raised an eyebrow. I am prepared. Tom wasn't so sure. The ship's engines roared to life, and within moments, they were leaving Vashtal 4 behind. As Tom watched the planet shrink in the distance, he couldn't shake the feeling that his life was about to become a lot more complicated. Because bringing an alien princess to Earth, yeah, that was definitely not going to go smoothly. Tom sat in the pilot's seat, gripping the armrests as the ship entered Earth's atmosphere. The ride was bumpy, but the ship's AI handled it well. Outside the window, he could see blue oceans and green lands growing larger. He glanced at Princess Zyra, who sat calmly beside him. She didn't seem worried at all. We are approaching your world, Zyra said, watching the screen. Your technology is far behind, but your planet is beautiful. Tom sighed. Yeah, well, let's just hope we don't cause a panic. Zyra smirked. Are your people so fearful? Tom gave her a look. Zyra, you're an alien warrior princess. You do not exactly blend in. Zyra tilted her head. I will adapt. Tom wasn't so sure. As the ship descended, Earth's air traffic control sent out confused messages, asking about the unknown vessel. Tom quickly activated his clearance codes, one of the few perks of working with the Terran diplomatic corps. Relax, he muttered. I have a permit for this. Zyra raised an eyebrow. You need permission to land on your own world. Tom groaned. Yeah. Welcome to Earth. The ship touched down at a secure landing zone outside a government facility. Tom unbuckled his seatbelt and stood up. All right, here we go. Just try not to freak anyone out. Zyra smirked. I make no promises. First contact. Again. The landing bay was filled with humans, scientists, officials, and a few military personnel. They stood in nervous silence, watching the ramp lower. Tom led the way, stepping out first. Hey guys, I'm back. An older man in a gray suit stepped forward. Director Reynolds, Tom's boss. He did not look happy. Tom, Reynolds said, would you care to explain why you have a Zenari princess with you? Tom scratched the back of his head. Long story. Zyra stepped forward, her posture calm but powerful. I am Princess Zyra of the Zenari Empire. I come in peace." The room stayed silent. Then someone whispered, "She's tall." Tom sighed. Yes, she is." Reynolds pinched the bridge of his nose. "Tom, do you have any idea what kind of diplomatic mess this could create?" Tom raised his hands. "Hey, I didn't invite her. She just decided to come." Thyra nodded. "Indeed. I was curious about Earth." She looked around. "So far, it is underwhelming." One of the military officers tensed at that. "Excuse me." Tom sighed. "She means that in a nice way, I think." Reynolds muttered something under his breath. "All right. Fine. We'll deal with this. But Tom, you're responsible for her." Tom blinked. "Wait. What?" Reynolds crossed his arms. "You brought her here. You keep her out of trouble." Tom turned to Zyra. "You hear that? You're my problem now." Zyra smirked. "I was always your problem, human." Tom groaned. A tour of Earth. After hours of diplomatic meetings, security checks, and paperwork, Tom finally managed to get Zyra out of the facility. She wanted to see Earth, and that meant showing her around. Their first stop, a small coffee shop in the city. Zyra studied the menu with a frown. "These drink names are strange. What is a caramel macchiato?" Tom grinned. "Something you should try." A few minutes later, Zyra took a sip of her first coffee. Her eyes widened slightly. "This is good," she admitted. Tom smirked. "Told you." As they sat at a table, people around them stole glances at Zyra. With her silver eyes, sharp features, and warrior-like posture, she definitely stood out. A man in a hoodie walked past and muttered, "Cosplay's getting real good these days." Tom barely held back a laugh. Zyra, however, was confused. "What is a cosplay?" Tom grinned. "I'll explain later." As they left the cafe, Zyra looked around at the busy streets, the tall buildings, and the strange mix of people. "Your world is different from what I expected," she admitted. "It is chaotic, but also lively." Tom nodded. "Yeah, that's Earth for you." Zyra was silent for a moment. Then she turned to him. "I wish to see more." Tom sighed. "Of course you do. Trouble finds them." Tom groaned. "Great. We've got babysitters." Zyra raised an eyebrow. "Are they a threat?" Tom shook his head. "No, just annoying." Then another problem appeared. A group of street thugs stepped in front of them, blocking the path. Zyra, however, just stared at them. "Are they serious?" Tom rubbed his face. "Unfortunately, yes." The thugs sneered. "What's the problem, lady? Scared?" Zyra's expression darkened. Before Tom could stop her, she grabbed the thug's wrist, twisted it effortlessly, and sent him crashing to the ground. The other thugs froze. Tom sighed. "I told you not to freak anyone out." Zyra smirked. He was being disrespectful. The remaining thugs took one look at her and ran away. The government agents were now watching closely. Tom groaned. "We're going to get in so much trouble." Zyra just smiled. "I am enjoying Earth already." Tom sighed. This was going to be a long day. Tom sighed as he sat in his small apartment, watching Zyra examine everything in the room with curiosity. She picked up a TV remote, pressed a few buttons, and jumped slightly when the screen lit up. Tom chuckled. "Not what you expected." Zyra smirked. "Your technology is amusing." She pressed another button, and the volume blasted to maximum. Tom scrambled to grab the remote. Okay. Maybe don't press every button." Zyra chuckled. "Your world is full of surprises." Tom collapsed onto the couch, exhausted. The last 24 hours had been non-stop chaos. First, there was the diplomatic meeting. Then, the coffee shop visit. Then, the street fight that nearly got them arrested. And now he was babysitting an alien princess who had no idea how to live like a normal human. He rubbed his face. This is a disaster. Zyra sat beside him, tilting her head. You are troubled. Tom sighed. Zyra, you're a princess. You can't just walk around like a normal person. You don't understand Earth's laws, customs, or even how to order food without scaring someone. Zyra raised an eyebrow. Are you saying I am a problem? Tom groaned. No. I mean, yes, but not in a bad way. You just stand out. Zyra smirked. Is that not a good thing? Tom stared at her. She really didn't get it. Before he could answer, his phone buzzed. He checked the screen. It was a message from Director Reynolds. Emergency meeting. Now. Tom winced. That was never a good sign. Government trouble. Tom and Sarah arrived at the Terran diplomatic headquarters, a sleek glass building that looked way too fancy for the chaos happening inside. Reynolds was waiting for them in the briefing room, along with a few top officials. He did not look happy. Tom, Reynolds said, rubbing his temples. Do you know what's happening? Tom shrugged. No. Reynolds tossed a datapad onto the table. The Zenari High Council just sent a message. They are demanding an explanation for why their princess is on Earth, and why she was seen fighting criminals in the streets. Tom winced. Yeah, about that. Zyra crossed her arms. I merely defended myself. Reynolds sighed. Princess, with all due respect, you can't just throw people around. That causes problems. Zyra looked unimpressed. Then your people should learn to behave. Tom resisted the urge to bang his head on the table. Reynolds pointed at Tom. Fix this. Fast. Tom groaned. And how am I supposed to do that? Reynolds exhaled. The Zenari delegation is on their way. They want to meet with you both. Tom blinked. Wait, they're coming here. Reynolds nodded. Yes, and if they don't like what they hear, this could turn into a diplomatic crisis. Tom groaned. Great, just what I needed. Zyra smirked. This will be fun. Tom stared at her. Zyra, this is the opposite of fun. The Zenari delegation. A few hours later, Tom stood nervously as a Zenari diplomatic ship landed at the facility. The doors hissed open, and out stepped 3 Zenari officials, dressed in dark blue robes. They looked serious. The leader, Ambassador Valter, stepped forward. His gaze locked onto Zyra. Princess, he said, his voice calm but firm. Why have you abandoned your duties to come to this primitive world? Zyra didn't flinch. I wished to see Earth for myself. Valter's eyes narrowed. Without permission. Zyra tilted her head. I am the future ruler of the Zenari Empire. Must I ask permission to learn? Valter's jaw tightened. Your father is displeased. Tom muttered under his breath. I bet he is. Valter turned his gaze to Tom. And you, human, you are responsible for this. Tom raised his hands. Hey, I didn't tell her to come. She just decided to follow me. Valter's expression darkened. The High Council believes she is in danger here. Zyra crossed her arms. I am in no danger. Valter exhaled. That does not matter. Your actions have drawn unwanted attention. There are those who would see your presence here as a weakness or an opportunity. Tom frowned. Wait, what do you mean? Valter's gaze turned sharp. There are enemies who would use this situation to their advantage. Not all in the galaxy wish for peace between our people. Tom felt a cold chill. You think someone's coming for her? Valter's silence was answer enough. Zyra smirked. Let them come. I will deal with them. Tom groaned. Can we not invite trouble? Valter sighed. We will be watching. Do not make this situation worse, human. With that, the delegation turned and left. Tom let out a long sigh. Well, that wasn't terrifying at all. Zyra smiled. This is getting interesting. Tom rubbed his temples. Yeah, that's what I'm afraid of. Tom paced back and forth in his small apartment, rubbing his temples. His mind was racing. Enemies were watching. The Zanari delegation's warning wasn't just a formal speech. It was a real problem. Vizera sat calmly on the couch, arms crossed, looking as if none of this concerned her. "You're really not worried?" Tom asked, stopping to face her. Vizera smirked. "I have faced greater threats before." Tom sighed. "Yeah, well, Earth isn't a battlefield. It's my home, and I'd rather not have alien assassins running around." Vizera tilted her head. "You assume they will come for me." Tom frowned. "What do you mean?" Vizera leaned forward slightly. "I am a warrior. I am trained for battle. If our enemies are smart, they will not come for me first." Tom's stomach dropped. He knew exactly what she meant. "They'll come for me." Before Vizera could answer, Tom's phone buzzed. He grabbed it, eyes widening at the message. "Come outside. We need to talk. Now." There was no name, but Tom recognized the number. It was from Agent Harris, a government intelligence officer. Tom exchanged a glance with Vizera. "Something's wrong." Vizera stood up. "Then we will find out what it is." A midnight meeting. Tom and Sarah stepped outside, the cool night air brushing against them. A black car was parked by the curb. Agent Harris stood beside it, dressed in his usual dark suit. He looked serious. "Tom," Harris said, nodding. Then he glanced at Tyra. "And, Princess." Tyra raised an eyebrow. "You are one of your government spies." Harris didn't even blink. "I prefer intelligence officer." Tom crossed his arms. "All right, Harris. What's going on?" Harris looked around as if checking for eavesdroppers. Then he said, "We picked up some strange activity near one of our satellite stations. Unidentified ships, small, fast, and trying to stay hidden." Tom frowned. "Zanari." Harris shook his head. "Not their style. But it gets worse. We intercepted a message. It was coded, but we cracked part of it." He paused. "It mentioned you. And the princess." Zyra's expression turned sharp. "Who sent it?" Harris exhaled. "We don't know yet, but someone is looking for you, and they're already on Earth." Tom's stomach twisted. "Great. Just what I needed." Zyra, however, seemed excited. "Then let them come." Tom stared at her. "Why do you sound happy about this?" Zyra smirked. "Because I enjoy a good fight." Harris gave Tom a tired look. "You sure know how to pick your friends." Tom groaned. "Don't remind me." Harris stepped closer. "Listen, Tom. I don't know who these people are, but if they went through the trouble of sneaking onto Earth, they're dangerous. You need to be careful." Tom nodded. "Yeah, thanks for the warning." Harris hesitated. "One more thing." He glanced at Tyra. "Princess, if this gets out of control, your people might decide to send their own forces here. And I don't think anyone wants an intergalactic incident on Earth." Zyra's expression hardened. "I do not need an army to protect myself." Harris sighed. "Just try not to start a war, all right?" Zyra smirked. "No promises." Harris looked like he had a headache. "I'll keep you updated. Stay low." Then he got into his car and drove away. Tom turned to Tyra. "See, this is exactly what I was worried about." Zyra placed a hand on her hip. "You worry too much." Tom groaned. "I don't worry enough." A shadow in the dark. Later that night, Tom couldn't sleep. He sat by the window, staring at the city lights, thinking. Whoever was after them, whoever had sent that message, was already here, and that meant they were running out of time. A soft noise outside made him freeze. A shadow moved across the street, too fast for a normal human. Tom's heart pounded. He reached for his phone. "Zyra," he whispered. But before he could even stand up, the window shattered. And the attack began. The window shattered, and Tom barely had time to react before a dark figure leaked into the room. Zyra moved instantly, pushing Tom aside as the attackers struck. Their weapons clashed, sending sparks flying in the dimly lit apartment. Tom scrambled to his feet, heart pounding. The attacker was fast, moving like a shadow, dressed in black armor with a mask covering their face. Zara blocked a sharp energy blade with her wrist guard, then spun around, aiming a kick at the enemy's chest. The force sent them crashing into the wall. Tom reached for something, anything, to help. His eyes landed on a metal lamp. Without thinking, he grabbed it and swung. Wham! The lamp hit the attacker's head, making them stumble. Zara seized the opportunity. She moved like lightning, grabbing the enemy's arm and twisting it. The attacker grunted but didn't scream. Instead, they activated a small device on their wrist. A bright blue light flashed, and before Tom could react, the enemy vanished, a hidden threat. Tom stared at the empty space where the attacker had been. "What was that?" he gasped. Sarah frowned. "A teleportation device. They escaped." Tom groaned. "Great. Now what?" Zara's eyes narrowed. "We find them before they strike again." Tom ran a hand through his hair, trying to stay calm. "Who do you think they were working for?" "The Zanari." Zara shook her head. "No, this was not their way. This was someone else." Tom swallowed. "Then that means there's more of them, right?" Zara nodded. "Yes, and they will not stop until they succeed." Tom exhaled sharply. "Fantastic." Before Zara could respond, Tom's phone buzzed. It was a message from Agent Harris. "Get to the safe house. Now, you're in danger." Tom showed the message to Zara. She smirked. "We already know that." But she didn't argue. "Escape to the safe house." Tom and Zara slipped out of the apartment, keeping to the shadows. They took the back alleys, avoiding crowded streets. Tom's heart raced. Every sound felt like a threat. Were they being watched? Finally, they reached the safe house, a small, abandoned-looking warehouse on the outskirts of the city. Harris was waiting inside. He looked tense. "You were attacked, weren't you?" Tom nodded. "Yeah, they almost got me." Harris cursed under his breath. "Listen, we ran some scans. The attacker wasn't human." Tom's stomach dropped. "Then what were they?" Harris hesitated. "We think they were part of the Zyphar syndicate." Zara's expression darkened. "Zyphar?" Tom frowned. "Who are they?" Zara's voice was serious. "A powerful criminal organization. They operate in the shadows, dealing in illegal weapons, smuggling, and assassination." Tom felt a chill. "So they were sent to kill you?" Zara's gaze was sharp. "Or you?" Harris exhaled. "We don't know why they're after you, but we do know one thing." He looked at Tom. "They aren't done yet." The final confrontation. Before Tom could even respond, the walls shook. A loud explosion blasted the side of the warehouse, sending dust and debris flying. "They found us," Harris shouted. Zara was already moving. She grabbed Tom's arm and pulled him behind cover. A group of masked figures stormed inside, weapons raised. Harris fired first. His bullets bounced off their armor. One of the attackers spotted him and raised a plasma rifle. Before they could fire, Zara leaped onto them, knocking the weapon away. Tom took his chance. He grabbed a metal pipe from the ground and swung it at the attacker's head. Crack! The enemy collapsed. Zara gave Tom an approving nod. "Not bad." Tom sighed. "I really hate this." More enemies flooded in. It was chaos. Then, suddenly, a deep, commanding voice filled the room. "Enough." The attackers froze. Zara's eyes narrowed. "I know you." Tom gulped. "Who is he?" Drakkar smiled. "Princess, you are difficult to catch, but it ends now." Zara clenched her fists. "You will regret coming here." Drakkar chuckled. "We shall see." Then he lunged. The final stand. Drakkar was fast. Too fast. Zira blocked his first attack, but the force sent her skidding backward. Tom saw an opening. He grabbed a flash grenade from Harris's gear and threw it. Boom! The bright light blinded the enemies for a moment. Zira didn't waste it. She attacked, striking Drakkar with a powerful blow. He staggered, growling. This is not over. Before anyone could stop him, he activated a teleportation device and vanished. The remaining enemies fled. Tom collapsed onto the ground, gasping for breath. Is it over? Zira watched the spot where Drakkar had disappeared. For now, Harris groaned. That guy is going to be a problem. Tom sighed deeply. Yeah, but at least we're alive. Zira smirked. And next time, we will be ready. Tom chuckled tiredly. Next time. Oh, great. As sirens echoed in the distance, Tom realized something. His life would never be normal again. And strangely, that didn't seem so bad. The end.